Let's go. You know, about 12 months ago, Nigerians reeled under a nail-biting cash crunch that not only tested our resilience, but claimed many lives, if you recall. It would seem that another crunch is upon us, as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Yemi Cardoso, has admitted a critical flaw in the naira redesign policy, blaming its bad implementation as reason for the scarcity of the national currency. According to Cardoso, quote, an elegant document outlining clear rules and procedures for navigating the Nigerian money market was responsible. We're still, well, end quote, I should say. But we're still in the woods and no visible signs of the way home yet, even as the Apex Bank boss insists that we have 3.4 trillion naira in circulation. I can almost hear, God forbid.
You see, I think the CBN dropped the ball at some point. Nigerians, they should have approached the Supreme Court early, knowing that the Supreme Court set a fresh deadline. It extended the validity of the old notes to the 31st of December. And with that time ceiling in place, Nigerians who saw what happened to them, who can recall what happened to them during the Emefiele repainting of the currency, naturally would want to hoard the naira notes to ensure that they do not find themselves in that situation again. It was a terrible experience. We've never faced that kind of situation in our lives in this country.
Not even during the Civil War.
Yes, even in wartime, people find money to spend. But this one was so bad that people could not find money. People had patients in hospital who were dying. They could not find the money to save their lives. People lost their businesses, especially small and nano businesses. They suffered because,
to say the least,
because of a policy that some delusional people thought they could use to stop somebody from winning an election. So have they succeeded now? Well, they subjected Nigerians to unbearable pain. Now, Nigerians, they say, once beaten, twice shy.
Yeah.
You fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So Nigerians began to withdraw their naira notes from the banks and were hoarding them in anticipation of the deadline that was to be December 31st. By the time the CBN and the government approached the Supreme Court to extend the validity of the currency indefinitely, the harm had been done. There had been a run on the banks. People had taken their money. And I said before that given what Nigerians went through early this year, the banks, the confidence of people in the banks will have been completely eroded. Many people, you can't tell them, they don't even enter banks anymore.
Do we learn anything, Jide? Do we learn anything?
So normally, like 3 months to that deadline, you should have approached the Apex Court, get the Apex Court to do what it has now done. But the harm had been done. A lot of people had already bailed with their money. They've kept their money in their soakaway pits. They've kept their money in different places. Now, the banks don't have enough money in their vaults. So this is the situation. We have...
But the CBN boss is saying that 3.7 trillion naira...
3.4.
3.4 trillion is in circulation.
It's in circulation, but people are hiding it. It's not in the banks. People chose not to put... Because you will not go to the banks, you expect the ATMs to dispense cash. You go to ATM galleries, they don't have enough to dispense. You go to the bank, you enter the banking hall, they are telling you they can't give more than 10,000. So taking us back to the Emefiele
something is wrong.
Because you see, in February, according to the CBN, we had 1 trillion in circulation because they mobbed a lot of the currency.
Yeah, yeah.
But after the policy was relaxed, people,
Seemingly.
yes, they pushed more currencies into the
into
circulation, yes,
yeah.
to calm the storm down. But people took the money and kept. It's a very simple thing that has happened. It's not, you don't need to be an Harvard-trained economist to know why we're experiencing this situation. But the government has said, okay, for people depositing money, there will no longer be charges on 500,000, for example. They think that will be an incentive to get people to use
money.
the banks, you know.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a while because a lot of people, especially the poor people in the rural areas, they still don't know that deadline had been indefinitely extended.
Yeah.
So they have to continue to sensitize our people. NOA now should get out and tell people that, look, bring out the naira notes that you are holding. That there's no deadline anymore.
Even about these things are generally man-made. We can't go through it again. I don't want to visualize it. I don't. Neither you nor Jide is ready.
Malaria. You know, you have to be bitten by an insect before you have it. I will automatically develop it in my blood system because I suffered, just like every other Nigerian suffered. So, you see, BKO just took the words out of my mouth because I was looking at the time Mr. Yemi Cardoso was appointed. Was appointed in September. And as of that time, there was a serious issue concerning the people accessing their money. So I had thought that the first thing he would face would have been this, making sure there is no repeat performance of it. And how do you do that? Haven't been, the court haven't given its own verdict. Like BKO said, people in the rural area are not aware of what the court had said. And many people don't even believe that what the court said would hold. So everybody is scared. There were people who lost their children, babies. There were people who lost I know a person who lost her father because they were moving from one hospital to the other where they would get help first before getting money.
Yeah.
And in the course of that, they lost their dad. So imagine such a family. Do you know what they will be doing with their money by this time?
Yeah. No, but mine is this. If the new CBN boss is saying they redesigned, well, Jide says it is not a design, the coloring or coloration of the naira was responsible. At what time did this occur to him? September, October, November, December?
This is the problem we have with most of our appointed officers. In their private businesses, they are fantastic. When they come to the public offices, I don't understand what goes on with them. They don't do the needful. They are busy with God knows what. Because, for example, there is no one in Nigeria that didn't know the pains and problems.
Talk about bottlenecks, official bottlenecks.
See, put that aside. We're talking about awareness now, creating awareness. Working with Nigerian National Orientation Agency to disseminate information, let people know. Because you see, you cannot hold an appointment or hold an office in Nigeria without understanding the mindset with which a Nigerian, every Nigerian would operate. Having gone through the cash crunch era, citizen, nobody wants to go through it again. So if I have money in the bank, I run quickly and withdraw my money.
Oh yeah.
And that's what is going
Many people
on.
are withdrawing their money.
Yes.
Many people.
So something's supposed to have been done prior to now.
And so why do we have this knack for hurting ourselves needlessly?
I don't think that people losing faith in the banking sector because of the pains inflicted on them, I don't think it amounts to people hurting themselves. They just don't want to go through that pain.
They're just taking precaution.
They just don't want to go through that pain again. the damage, and you know what further worsened things was that CBN staff, big time liars, were lying against the banks. They knew they didn't print enough new notes. Yes, they were claiming that it was the banks that were holding. There's a friend of mine who had been in operations in the banking sector for years, moving from bank to bank, moving to about 5 different banks. I saw him in one of the big banks in Asokoro, and he told me, he said, for the first time in his banking career, he saw an empty vault. That had never happened everywhere he's worked, that the problem was so bad that not even a naira note in a vault. It was unbelievable, the extent of that problem. And, you know, bank staff were even being attacked. I saw a video of women, bank staff, being carried on shoulders to scale the wall because rioters were on their premises. You saw how many banks were set ablaze in Shagamu because some individuals who do not fear God kept lying against the banks that they were holding. They didn't tell us the truth that they did not print enough. Now, there was even a case of a bank that they raided. That bank was like a regional hub for their branches. So they had not begun to move the money to different branches. You now said they were hoarded. Of course they were hoarding. Of course they will have a good bunch of naira notes that will go elsewhere.
We must go. We must go. But I trust the CBN under Cardoso to do the needful. We are not asking for too much.